Industrial Talk is brought to you by Palo Alto Networks. Palo Alto Networks offers zero trust for your operational technology without the PTSD. If you're in the digital transformation game, keeping operational technology secure and running smoothly is a tall order. It's enough to make any coolest operations director wake up in night sweats. Palo Alto Networks Zero Trust OT Security delivers comprehensive visibility and security for all OT assets, networks, and remote operations. It provides best-in-class security while simplifying OT security management. It sees and protects everything in the network, and it automates threat detection while implementing zero trust across all operations. So sleep better at night knowing you have the most comprehensive platform to detect, manage, and secure your OT assets. Learn more about the Palo Alto Networks Zero Trust solution. Go out to PaloAltoNetworks.com. That's PaloAltoNetworks.com. Find out more. You will not be disappointed.
Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott MacKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, thank you once again for joining Industrial Talk, and thank you once again for your incredible support. A platform that is dedicated, Industrial Talk is dedicated to industrial professionals all around the world because you are bold, you are brave, you dare greatly, you collaborate, you solve problems, you do everything that I am so proud of, and that's why we here on this platform celebrate you because we are your industrial cheerleaders. I'm just adding that, Lee. That's just me just getting all fancy pants with my intro, so disregard. And as you can tell, we are broadcasting from Xcelerate 23. It is in Orlando, and it's brought to you by those wonderful people at Fluke Reliability. Go check out Fluke Reliability, and you will not be disappointed. Go out to the World Wide Web. That is the World Wide Web. Find Fluke Reliability, and you will not be disappointed. All right. Lee. Look, and I got his card in front of me right here. If you're out on video, you can see it. Lee McClish. Did I get that?
Yes.
All right. He is the Director, Maintenance and Reliability. So that he's got at NTT Global Data Centers, Americas. There you go. Let's get cracking. Good conference, Lee?
Very good conference.
It is pretty good. You know, it is pretty good. And I've been saying it. I've been drinking the Kool-Aid, and I'm such a homer for what's going on in this place. But it's not too big. It's not too small. It's just the right size to be able to have great conversations, meet up with people, see Mad Tech. It's all good.
Yeah, not peppered with just a bunch of vendors.
Yeah, no, you're just talking to users. There's one right there. He's a user right over there. We're going to have a conversation. For the listeners, let's get right to it. Give us a little background on who you are, and let's just sort of level set before we get into that, because I'm just intrigued by the maintenance reliability from a date. I'm looking at that. I'm looking at your journey. Let's get going.
Yeah, I started in the Navy. I was in the submarine force for 10 years active. And then I did.
Do you know Jack Nicholas?
Oh, yeah. I met him at this event in 19, and he was in the Navy Reserves for a long time, and I retired from the Navy Reserves, both as captains. So, yeah, I just had a good conversation with him.
Small world, go. I'm sorry. I digress. There you go. One of the things that always happens with this program is because the industrial world is, fortunately, eventually I'll know everybody. I'll know them all. That's my goal, know everybody in the industry. Continue. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I spent 10 years in the nuclear Navy and submarines on active duty, and I actually stayed in the reserves for another 20 and retired with 30 years of service. And so
Thank you.
When I came out of the Navy, I was, in my early 30s, and I started working for a corrugated box plant as a maintenance supervisor, which was a good background for me. They had steam boilers, like we did on the submarine. And so I kind of, jumped right in charge of mechanics, electricians, and really kind of learned what bothered them. When they go out to machine, what are they dealing with? How did that engineer design that piece of equipment? And so I stayed with them about 15 years. I worked for a folding carton plant, learned a lot more about reliability then, reliability center maintenance. spent 3 years at BASF, large chemical company, as reliability engineer and then the maintenance manager. And then out of the blue, this guy calls me up and says, "Hey, I'm Tom. I work for Raging Wire." I'm like, "Well, that's a cool name." And he's like,
Shoot, I don't know what it is, but it did grab my attention, yes.
I thought, wow. So I said, "What do you do?" He goes, "Well, we're a data center." Okay, well, what do you do?
Still, I want to know. Is it a baseball team? Because that's a cool baseball name. Well, what is it?
Yeah, so he's telling me, hey, we're the cloud. We provide, place for the servers, power them up, and keep them cool, and all that. And I go, well, it sounds to me like you need an IT guy. I go, why are you calling me? I'm a mechanical engineer. He goes, no, we want somebody with a mechanical background because all the mechanical equipment to start and build a reliability program. And so I, went through the interviews and haven't looked back, and that was about 5.5 years ago.
Is that NTT?
Yeah. NTT bought them.
I was getting ready.
In 14.
I don't see that cool name on NTT. Not to say NTT is not a cool name. I'm just saying it's not there.
Yeah, NTT bought them 100% in 17.
Oh, there you go. So, with that said, it's easy for me to put, and you're going to have to educate. It's easy for me to understand a reliability and maintenance program with rotating equipment, with assets that are out in a manufacturing floor, whatever. I understand that. Help us understand from a data perspective what that looks like. I don't even know what that looks like.
It's different. So just defining criticality. 50% of our assets we all consider a criticality of 1. The highest level, because it's either electrical distribution for the power or it's providing a cooling effect. The only things that aren't is like air conditioners for offices and parts of the building and the facilities and things like that. So most of our assets are critical. And then you look at the hierarchy, and it's not like a department to machine to a part of the machine.
Yeah.
You just have all these individual components, generators and UPSs and batteries and transfer switches. Yeah. So they're all individual things. And so I really do my hierarchy by a category: electrical, mechanical, building, fire, life safety, those types of things. So that was different. The other thing I really found a lot different is there's not like a maintenance and operations departments. We're just one department. They do the maintenance and they do the operating. And they call it critical facilities operations. And so they can't point the finger at each other because they are the same.
Right,
so that's a lot better. Another thing that they really get more involved in is like some of the codes for like NFPA 70B, ANSI NITA, MTS, all those kind. IEEE.
Let me have a bowl of acronyms right now, just so I can scoop it up and put some milk on it and eat it up. Holy moly!
So I spent some time looking through those. And there are recommendations and testing for transformers and high voltage switches and switchboards and even generators, and which are a standby generator because they don't run all the time. They're just there when they're needed. So I did a lot of research on those to create what was called a scope of service, which is the beginning of the PM plan. So you have to look at all your different manufacturers, what does OEM recommend, and kind of mesh all that together and say, okay, well, this is where we're going to start. We're going to do this monthly or quarterly or annual or whatnot. And so my focus has been more on predictive maintenance. And I look at IR scanning. In manufacturing, every year I was religious about getting IR scanning done at least annually. And they'd find 20, 30 deficiencies. We'd fix them next year, 20, 30 more. It was a great program. But, I had it done a year ago in a data center, and they found 0. No deficiencies. So how do you justify doing that kind of?
That is such a interesting. I always think that when everybody goes down the road of saying, hey, we want to be a reliability company, we want to have that culture, we want to be able to focus on and manage these assets. It's all good. Don't get me wrong, I get it. But the reality is that you hit the financial low-hanging fruit, and it's all, look at that, man, that's great, man, woo, woo, woo. And then eventually, if you do your job right, it sort of goes away.
Yeah.
And it becomes sort of day-to-day, whatever, but I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one. Just FYI.
It is.
So there you go. You don't have anything. So
yeah, you have to really look at the business case and does it make sense. And, if you waited say every 5 years to infrared scan, that's probably way too much.
Yeah.
And it's really not going to get you the data. You can't trend it.
So you were here. You've been here at Xcelerate 23, and a part of that, you had a conversation. You were a keynote. You weren't just any speaker. You were a keynote, and that means you are a bigwig when it comes to speaking. Explain to the listeners what you were talking about there.
So I started out with focusing on CMMS and what we've done to use that to leverage our reliability program. So when I joined the company, I had just started using e-maintenance, and an IT guy was in charge of it. So we got the basic standard package. Nothing with, I couldn't go run a mean time between failure report. I didn't have failure cause remedy codes. There wasn't, and there's a lot of clutter on the screens, all these fields. I'm like, what is this? We're never going to use that. So I spent my first year just kind of doing cleanup of it, and making it so I could get some good data out of it, and actually had a redeployment. I actually took a trainer, me and him, we went around to every site. We trained everybody, which was good because then they could meet me, since I was new. And then we were off and running. And, when I joined, there was 0 corrective work orders, so it was a whole culture development, that I went through with it. So I was kind of explaining all the different attributes and things I'd done, with the program.
So you did that. You now you're deploying that eMaint platform a little bit more. So, but how did you begin that journey into your organization, NTT, and then where are you at today after a period of time? How long have you been with them?
5.5 years.
Where you are today? Where are you at? I mean,
so in the beginning it was just...
I'm not trying to put you in an uncomfortable situation. I was like, they don't support me. No, I'm not asking you to do that.
In the beginning it was just me. I was hired as a reliability engineer.
Right.
And so I had a lot of time on my hands to build the foundations. I did FMEAs and all these...
Whoa. See, you just acronymed the heck out of me. Right? What does that mean?
Failure modes effects analysis.
There you go.
Yes.
Got it. I just had to throw it out. I knew what it was, but I just don't. Go for it. Continue.
And so I used that and did PM optimization on all of our tasks and the scopes of service, and spent a lot of time making sure that those are pretty solid. And I bounced them off a lot of different industry experts, people in the field that go and do it for a living. Like, okay, ANSI NITA tells you need to do all this testing.
Yeah.
Is there really value added there? Does anybody really do all this stuff? And if you do it, then what do you get out of it?
Yeah.
So I kind of went through all that analysis early on.
That's good. Good.
And then 3 years into the company, and then they promoted me, gave me these maintenance coordinators who do all the scheduling of the maintenance. So I was really kind of able to evolve the CMMS, even a little bit more. And then, last year, and actually then I changed departments. I was in operations, and they created a real estate and facilities department, so I went to that by myself again. I was able to hire a CMMS administrator, a scheduler, and then he gave me all the coordinators back again because I left them in operations. So now I have like 8 people who work for me, and we do all the scheduling, and I set all the standards. So the people doing the maintenance don't work for me. That makes it kind of a challenge. I can't reach out to technicians and say, well, where's my feedback? Where's my completed work order? I have to kind of work with these folks and work together and hope to get some feedback from them. So that's one of the things that's a little bit more difficult. I can't go around to 13 different buildings and, go and look at every single task for every step of the way for a PM. I really need input from the guys out there doing the work.
So fast forward, you've been with the organization a little over 5 years. Got it. Good. You brought in because you were a maintenance or reliability guy that was going to be able to try to transform NTT and bring in those disciplines. What are the benefits have you seen from when you started to where you are today?
Well, one, we're at least documenting what we have. And we are getting some failure modes and things that are coming up. We are doing a quarterly analysis of our failure cause remedy codes and seeing, where there's more deficiencies or, our chillers, we found that we have issues with their sensors. We have a separate, we have a lot of batteries, and there's a separate battery monitoring program that's kind of separate. We don't have that as part of e-maintenance. I don't know if that will be because it's pretty specialized. And
What? It's so special. It doesn't need it has a need for a different system. So
Yeah, well,
Again, I'm not trying to get you into trouble. I'm just sort of pointing out some sort of interesting decisions.
yeah, sure, no problem.
No problem, right? So one last question, and this from a future perspective, from within the organization, we know that cloud storage, whatever, all of that stuff, it's helped facilitate a lot of this transformation, software as a service, that type of stuff, and it's good. But are you seeing? Not everything could be in a cloud. Not everything could just sort of reside. It's going to be the size of Australia eventually, the whole farm. So what do we do? How do we begin to manage that? Because I take pictures, you take pictures, we take pictures. Everything goes to the cloud and it just magically finds a place to call home. So what do you do?
Well, our company can't build data centers fast enough. When I joined 5 years ago, we had 6. Now we have 13. In 2 years, we're going to build 8 more. And so we just keep building them and building them. There's all this edge. We're going to start building smaller data centers, or just consider an edge data center that are smaller just for those types of devices. And I'm really looking at more predictive analytics and trying to capture data and trend it and whatnot.
That is so cool.
And so one of the major issues is cybersecurity. And so that somebody outside the organization can't get that data and do something with it that you wouldn't want them to do with it. So I think it's being selective, really looking at your criticality of your equipment, where your pain points, and putting in the exact number of sensors and things and capture the data that really is going to tell you a story. It's going to make a difference.
Yeah, I there's so much change happening. There is. It's just, and it's not bad. I mean, it's just, you have a big job ahead of you.
Oh, yeah.
That's what that means.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, how do people get a hold of you, Lee? If they're interested in saying, hey, I want to know more about Lee and NTT and what I can do or whatever it is.
LinkedIn is a great place. I have over 800, contacts.
There you go. That's Lee McClish out on LinkedIn. Fear not, listeners. We're going to have all the contact information for Lee. How about that? You were great.
Thank you.
I like that a lot. All right, listeners, once again, we are from Orlando, broadcasting live, Xcelerate 23, Fluke Reliability. Go check them out on the World Wide Web. You will not. And reach out, because they've got answers, as well as NTT. I got it right here. You're going to have all that information out on Industrial Talk, so do not be afraid. Find out more. Reach out to these wonderful people. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
That was a great conversation with Lee. Lee McClish. He's with NTT Global Data Center. We were at the Fluke Xcelerate event in Orlando, which, quite frankly, was the right size with the right people. If you're in the world of asset management, reliability, maintenance, you need to reach out and be a part of that in 2024. That is a must-attend event. All right, we're going to have all the contact information for Lee out on Industrial Talk. You know that, so reach out. That's your to-do. All right, we're creating a platform that is dedicated to industrial professionals. You need to be a part of this platform. Your voice needs to be amplified. You just go out to Industrial Talk. You click on whatever, amplify my voice. I don't even know what it is. There's a button out there. I created it and I can't remember it. But you need to connect with me. Let's have a conversation. Be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Hang out with Lee. Change the world. We're going to have another great conversation shortly, so stay tuned.